bases drop, Thursday thoughts, match day, Atlanta United 2. Is that all? No. There's a lot to get into this morning. We've got a Champion and Open Cup. We've got a CanChamp. Campeones Cup was last night, late. So it was Campeones Cup after dark. You have a Champions League from yesterday. You have, what else do we have going on? A lot of guests today. We are going a lot of guests and all the news and all the things, and we'll get into all of it as we go. So guest rundown. Kaylor, Hodges, everything in the USL Championship, USL League One, bottom of the hour. Hour number 2 is the Power Hour with Nino and Niko. I imagine, like I said, I don't look at what Nino Torres from GOLTV puts on his list. I imagine that there's some Copa Libertadores and Sudamericana in there. I imagine there's some Portugal in there. Today, it is the Copa Argentina at 5 o'clock. Racing and River, they're going at it this afternoon. So that'll be Nino Torres, and we'll go until 10:30. Then at 10:30, last half hour on Thursdays, it's our buddy Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. We go over everything from the Pacific perspective, getting you ready for the weekend in Major League Soccer, and we'll get some juice boxes and roll from there with that. So Kaylor, Hodges, 9:30. It is 10 o'clock, Nino and Niko, and that gets you to 11:05. Also on the board, we have some news from the Premier League where Richard Masters apparently is no longer a fan of PSR, so we might have a PSR out the door. We'll get into that a little bit. Ticket prices have come out for the cup that the world will be chasing after in 2026, and, of course, they're varied, and we have those numbers to get into. We also have let's see, what else do we have this morning that's out there in the ether? So it was ticket. I need to know if any of you have been told that you're not in. Apparently, the order is reversed according to reports that have been posted, where if you are in the credit card window, apparently you get told first if you're in, and then if you're not, then they tell you. So it's instead of normal, like, well, you didn't make it, like pretty much every other event, apparently they tell you you made it, and if you didn't, then they tell you second. So we got our ticket prices coming up for the cup that is being pursued by everyone in the world come 2026. Those prices are out there as well. We go over Champions League yesterday, and so we've got stuff to get into this morning. Once again, Kaylor Hodges, bottom of the hour, from when we caught up with him for his monthly update on everything going on in USL Championship, USL League One. There's a lot of legal stuff going on, franchises coming in the door, chasing after the playoffs. And then once we get into the playoffs themselves, Kaylor will be joining us on more of a regular basis, pretty much weekly, and laying everything out as to how things went. So that's hour number 1. Hour number 2, Nino and Niko, and that gets us to 12:30. 12:30, and if you missed it on Morning Espresso, 12:30 pregame, 1 o'clock kick, closed door, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground, SDH, and MLSNextPro.com if you want to see the video version of things. It is the missing 20 minutes. I will be intrigued to see where the clock is, because the clock was frozen at 69:30 inside the fraction a little over a week ago. It was at 70:30 or 70:40 when it was initially frozen. So where is the clock? The missing 20 minutes gets resolved with Atlanta United 2. If you missed the rundown with Maddie and Jason on social, it's a pretty funny 2 minutes and 50 seconds. It's pretty crazy 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So time to get geared up for that. So lunch hour, push it back a little bit. Like I said, 12:30 pregame from the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground, 1 o'clock kick. The missing 20 minutes plus any time that is added, Chattanooga FC and Atlanta United 2. This will put an end, if I'm not mistaken, and this will be opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code for those of you who are hanging out with us this morning. Use that QR code, start your day with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And when you're on your way out the door, what you can do is use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% reinvested youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Now, listed on the website for MLS Next Pro in the 72nd minute. That's a little much. So is it going to be 70-30, 69-30? That's what we got to figure out. Either way, Chattanooga's out of subs. Chris Nugent and Chattanooga FC, they burn their subs, and who they have is who they have, regardless of how long this match is going to take. That's all they have. 3 of those players that are on the pitch are working on yellow cards. So maybe you sit there and you chase after those dudes and see what happens there. So Atlanta United 2 needs at least a goal to gain points in this matchup this afternoon. Here's the rundown in the Eastern Conference. There was a match last night that didn't really help a whole lot. Red Bulls 2, as they were trying to solidify the top seed in the Eastern Conference, lost at Northern Kentucky last night 2-1. So FC Cincinnati with a win. The Town, basically Earthquakes 2, with a win over Whitecaps 2. This is the last element before Decision Day. 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon for all the Eastern Conference games. 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon for all the Western Conference games. With the FC Cincinnati 2 win last night over Red Bulls, here's where things stand in the East. Everybody's at 27 matches, save Chattanooga and Atlanta. Red Bulls 2 at 55, 2 more wins than Philadelphia Union. Philadelphia Union have a tremendously advantageous goal difference, but it won't matter because if they win, they only get to 15. So Red Bulls 2 have the numerical advantage in wins, which is the first tiebreaker, both teams at 55 points heading into Decision Day. Revs 2 is at 51 points. They are, once again, they can't get to second, but they can sure as heck drop. They can be either the 3, the 4, or the 5. If you look at the MLS Next Pro website, it's live scoring, so that's what might throw you off a little bit. Right now, since the game's not complete, we're not going live scoring. Huntsville is 4th at 49 points. Chattanooga is 5th at 48. Same number of wins at 13. Huntsville City Football Club has a far superior goal difference, 15 goals to the better over Chattanooga FC. So Huntsville's the 4. Chattanooga's the 5. Matches completed, 48 points. Chicago Fire 2, 46 points. All of that's heading into today. So at the end of today, you could have Chattanooga in one of 3 places, obviously. Right now at 48 points, they're at the 5. So if they were to lose, they stay at the 5. If they go into PKs and lose, they are at 49 points, 6-8-4, and Huntsville has the far superior goal difference, so Chattanooga stays at the 5. They get 2 points, they go to 50, they're in 4th. They win in regulation, 3 points, they're 51, they're in 4th. So that's what Chattanooga has going on for them after the 20 minutes. So about 1:20 or 1:25 this afternoon, we'll know what the grid looks like heading into Decision Day. But Chattanooga could be the 5. They could be the 4. That's where Chattanooga FC is they pack probably a van, maybe 2, one with gear, one with players, and they come down to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. Carolina Core is 7th at 39. TFC 2 is 8th at 38. That's the playoff bar. What I meant last night by FC Cincinnati 2, or by Red Bulls 2 not doing by Red Bulls 2 not doing Atlanta United 2 any favors. Right now, FC Cincinnati 2 is in the 9 slot at 38 points, but they have 2 less wins, and they cannot go over Toronto FC 2 under any circumstance in a tiebreaker. TFC 2, they lose on Decision Day, whatever. They're at 10 wins. FC Cincinnati 2 wins on Decision Day. They're at 9. And then they would have surpassed them anyway. So if the TFC 2 and FC Cincinnati 2 are even on points, TFC 2 gets the first tiebreaker. Atlanta United 2, 37 points, 27 matches, or 26 and a fraction matches played. If Atlanta United 2 wins, if they come back, let's take it a point at a time. They get a goal in the next 20 minutes. They go to PKs. 1 point, 38 points, 9th place, 1 match win behind TFC 2. If they go to PKs, if they get a goal, go to PKs and win, they're at 39 points. and they would be in 7th because they have one more win than Carolina Core. Core would then be the 8. TFC2 would be out, as would FC Cincinnati 2. If Atlanta United 2 scores 2 goals in 20 minutes plus, then you end up with 40 points. Once again, you're the 7, Core's the 8, TFC2 and FC Cincinnati 2 slide down to the 9 and the 10, and you go to Chattanooga on decision day, scoreboard watching, Core, TFC2, FC Cincinnati 2, and even Orlando City B, who's at 9 wins and 37 points. Correct. Kefsey, that is correct. 26 and a fraction. Absolutely true. Eliminated now, NYCFC 2 at 35, Crown Legacy at 32, Messi and Friends 2 at 25, Crew 2 at 21. So that's your math. Pre-game once again, 12:30 on the network, soccerdownhere.net. Go to the listen option, and you'll see a red pulsating light. That's where we are. We're on the first channel, starting at 12:30. Maddie and Jason will have that 20 minutes plus. We'll have a Tues review later in the afternoon that sets up everything for decision day, but that's where we are involving Atlanta United 2. Yeah. All of this chaos. So this season you've had one match that was slid to Mercedes-Benz Stadium because of weather. You've had 2 matches slid to road games that had to count as home games because of unplayable surface at the Fraction. And now for match day 26 to be completed after match day 27 to get you ready for match day 28, you have to do a closed door, 20 minutes plus at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, only in MLS Next Pro. So that's your rundown of where things are heading into 12:30 and the pregame show. Pregame show, I'm racing up there after the show is over, and you'll have highlights from what happened 8 days ago. Get into that, get into the discussions, recap where the lineups are, not the starting lineups, because as I mentioned, Chattanooga FC's out of subs. 3 of their players are on yellow. Atlanta's lone yellow card is Cooper Sanchez. Cooper Sanchez got a call up to the national team, so I do not believe that Cooper will even be on the bench, just to wave a flag and wave a towel and sit there and go woo-woo. So Atlanta United 2 is in decent shape when it comes to cards. Chattanooga FC, 3 players with cards that are out there in this matchup for the final 20-plus minutes. Pre-game 12:30 on the network, either on our Mixler channel at soccerdownhere.mixler.com or go to soccerdownhere.net, go to the Listen tab, find the red light, hit the red light, you're listening. So that's where we are today. That's opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, there's your QR code for those of you hanging out with us. However, you are doing so, large device or small, buy out the store. Kick off your day at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, and you hit that QR code right there. Then what you do is use the code SoccerDownHere15 at checkout. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it in youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay. Last night, Open Cup. One of 3 cups to be decided last night. Vancouver Whitecaps got out to an early 2-0 lead, and Vancouver FC. So basically it was a derby between Langley and Vancouver, the suburbs and the big city. Vancouver FC scored to make it 2-1. Then you end up with more goals in the second half for the Whitecaps. Whitecaps win the CanChamp. They get the automatic bid to the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza by the final of 4-2 over VFC from the Canadian Premier League. Then also late last night, it was a Campeones Cup, and I was getting emails from LA Galaxy with all the postseason stuff that broke down like 2:30 this morning. Toluca gets a win at 90+4. 90+4. It was tied at 2, and then Pereira gets the goal. Toluca wins the Campeones Cup. Diego Fagundes gets a goal from the spot in the 36th. 1-0 at the break. Toluca evens it up in the 53rd. Gabriel Peck scores in the 83rd. Romero scores to tie it up at 2 in the 88th. Pereira at 90+4. And you end up with the Galaxy losing to Toluca in Campeones Cup late last night, our time, East Coast time. And it ends up, once again, Toluca winning by the final of 3-2 in Campeones Cup. So you end up with that last-second winner there, Federico Pereira, the end of second half stoppage time, gets the win there. Fagundes, Castro, Peck, Romero, and Federico Pereira last year's title winners from their respective leagues. Once again, you had a big crowd at Dignity Health Sports Park. Halftime red card to Toluca manager Antonio Mohamed. Galaxy blow a late lead. So Toluca gets the Campeones Cup, the Campeón de Campeones, and you end up with that going late night. Last year, remember, Club America beat Crew 5-4 in PKs. Then it was LAFC who lost in PKs to Tigres in 23. MLS had won the previous 3, and then back the first time, including Atlanta United beating Club America back in 19. And then Tigres won the first one in 2018, knocking off Toronto FC by the final of 3-1. So CanChamp goes to Vancouver FC. Campeones Cup goes to LAG. And Open Cup goes to the folks up in Tennessee. Here was the moment that turned it. It was 1-1 at Q2 in Austin. And so you had this moment late, and I'm sure that when Bart joins us to bat leadoff tomorrow to discuss the U.S. men's national team selection for the October window and also whatever else is on Bart's mind, we'll have this to talk about too. Was 1-1 until the second half at Q2, courtesy of our friends at CBS Sports Network. Chris Whittingham and Tony Miola on the call. I promise. I got to hit a button. I mean it. I got to hit a button.
Taxeth delivery in the corner. And there's a man down in the area, and it's given us a penalty. And it's those two that were getting tangled before. Pereira and Palacios involved. It's Pereira who gives away the penalty with his contact on the Nashville center back.
Yeah, Pereira is silly here. We were just talking about it. You mentioned we just saw it on the screen, and you see Pereira there as Palacios makes a run, puts two hands around the waist and pulls him. The referee really has no option here other than to call a penalty kick, and we see contact all the time.
Here's Surridge to give Nashville the lead again. It's down the middle, and Nashville back in front. Sam Surridge's 6th goal of the Open Cup, converting from the penalty spot, and Nashville in the lead once again in the final.
That's your highlights courtesy of CBS Sports Network. Once again, Chris Whittingham, Tony Miola on the call. I disagree with Tony's assessment. It turned into a major talking point in the post-game show with our friend Poppy Miller, Christina Uncle, Grella, Jimmy Conrad, Charlie Davies, all of them at the desk. To me, legitimately, what it looked like was Pereira when he had his hands around Palacios' waist. First off, Palacios, you see him clearing out with the forearm. So the forearm, to me, with Palacios, the grab by Pereira, that's a wash. Then Palacios feels like he has enough separation, peels away to his right. Pereira is grabbing, and then literally it's almost like you're trying to pop a balloon with your fingers. Grabs Palacios around the waist. Palacios then all of a sudden falls down like a tree in the forest. Torrey Penso thought that was enough, called the PK. Surge knocks it home, 2-1, and that's your eventual final score. So the first professional championship in the state of Tennessee goes to the folks up north, 4-hour drive from here. So obviously we'll get into that with Bart tomorrow in addition to the USMNT and anything else on his mind. Bart's going to bat leadoff tomorrow in a very, very busy day. It'll be Bart batting leadoff, hopefully catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30. We get a visit from our friends at Major League Soccer and Apple TV at 10. Set you up for the weekend across the planet at 10:30. And then we're out the door at 11 because we have to drive up to Collins Hill for a game for Football Fridays in Georgia on the high school football side of things. And I probably have to leave immediately after the show is over just so I can get through the traffic in Gwinnett County to get there in one piece. So that is tomorrow. And we will lay it all out for you there. Oh, and I also got a conference call for Decision Day at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So the pregame show at 12:30 on Sunday, we'll hear from, I believe, Ryan Carmichael and interim head coach Jose Silva. So that's your rundown there. Okay. Ticket prices for the World Cup. First and foremost, if you've heard that you're in, congratulations. If you haven't heard, apparently because there's, I think, 3.5 million submissions, FIFA has to get through all of the emails, let everybody know who's in first before they sit there and tell them that you're not in. So group matches in the U.S., according to our friends at The Athletic, excluding U.S. men's national team games priced as follows: highest prices for games at SoFi, Levi's, and the Meadowlands. Category 1, 410 to 620. Category 2, 310 to 465. Category 3, 140 to 215. Category 4, $60 to $105. Compiled a complete price list, our friends at The Athletic. Match types: Category 2, upper deck. Category 3, upper deck in the end zones. Category 4, upper third of one upper deck section in each corner. So, Category 1, lower bowl. Category 2, upper deck, sideline. Category 3, behind the goal, upper deck. Category 4, in the corners, upper deck. Ticket prices. Cat 1, Mexico's opener, looks like it's a little over $1,800. Canada's opener at $1,750. The U.S. opener in L.A. at $2,735. Group stage, Cat 1, L.A., San Francisco, New York, New Jersey at $620. Philly, Miami, Dallas, Toronto, and this is Category 1, lower bowl, $445. Group stage, Atlanta included in this one. Boston, Atlanta, Houston, KC, Seattle, Mexico City, Vancouver, $410. Group stage, Monterrey and Guadalajara for $345. So if you say are wanting to get tickets in Atlanta, Category 1 at $410. Category 2, upper deck sidelines, $310. Category 3, end zones, upper deck, $140. That's what it looks like. Canada games 2 and 3 in Vancouver start at $475. U.S. game 2 in Seattle at $535. Game 3 in L.A. at $805. Mexico's match 2 in Guadalajara at $445. Game 3 in Mexico City at $535. Round of 32 starts at $665. L.A., San Francisco, and the Meadowlands. Round of 32, Miami, Dallas, Toronto at $480. Round of 32 in Atlanta, to be included in that group, Boston, Atlanta, Houston, KC, Seattle, Mexico City, Vancouver is $440 on the lower bowl. End zone seats upper deck for $160. Monterrey $370 and $135. Round of 16 in Atlanta as a base point, lower bowl $590. End zones upper deck $220. Quarterfinal is LA, Miami, Boston, Kansas City. Quarterfinal in LA for $1690 lower bowl. $1220 in Miami lower bowl, $1125 Boston and KC lower bowl. Semifinal Dallas $2780, semifinal Atlanta $2565. Third place match in Miami $1,000 lower bowl. Final in New York, New Jersey $6370 for the final in the good seats. So obviously you get progressively better, larger ticket prices, better. Progressively larger ticket prices. Henry Bushnell did a big deep dive on it. But, and I think you got to keep an eye on dynamic pricing. Keep an eye on all of that as you go. So that's your rundown there. Quick note on Leicester. You saw that the CEO resigned after 15 years and that Top is going to take over again and add another role to what's going on. Latest battle with the Premier League, according to John Percy at the Telegraph, on course to start before the end of the year. Outcome unlikely until deep in the season. Relegated, they got 3 charges by the Prem the same month and are facing a renewed threat of a points deduction. Date for the hearing, according to the Telegraph, now scheduled beginning in the next few weeks, barring any further delays. Prospect of appeals, thought a conclusion may not be reached until next year. So Leicester right now is in 6th, 8 matches in, and they're at 13 points. Rules amended earlier this year. Any sanction could be imposed this season, could put a big wrench in their promotion thoughts. Alleged to have breached PSR for 23-24. Follow up with PSR here in a second. When the club were in the championship. Also charged with failing to provide their annual accounts to the Premier League before the end of the calendar year. Additional charge after failing a, quote, obligation to provide full, complete, and prompt assistance to the Premier League. Leicester made combined losses of more than £200 million across the rolling 3-year period. PSR regs permit a maximum loss of £81 million, adjustments for deductions, and for the league that you're in. Hearing goes before an independent commission, and if they're found guilty, you get a variety of other sanctions, transfer bans, fines, probably points deductions, things like that. Date of the hearing confidential. Understood the intention was always for a time before Christmas. EFL is also considering its position and will await the verdict from the commission. Another charge cannot be ruled out. Previous legal cases, they went to Blackstone Chambers as their legal firm of choice. Unclear as to whether or not the individual that has represented them in the past will represent them again. Leicester has said that they intend to engage cooperatively. But you ask Richard Masters about PSR, Telegraph and The Guardian, Christian Radnage. Premier League will soon decide on whether to get rid of PSR and introduce a new squad cost ratio system. It was introduced back in 15-16 to prevent clubs from overspending. It's led to breaches and has been criticized by folks like Manchester City, Newcastle, and Villa. Masters said a new system would align more with UEFA financial regs, which cap a club's spending on player wages, transfers, and agents' fees at 70% of their revenue. Premier League would have a higher cap of 85%. Masters said at the Leaders Sports Conference, quote, "We're talking to our clubs about an alternative system. That's not to say we don't think the PSR system works. It's about a closer alignment with European regulation, which is squad cost ratio, which is a revenue test. PSR is a look back at profitability, has its own strengths and weaknesses. No system will be perfect. We have to keep these things balanced and continue the conversation with our clubs. It's an important decision, so we should take the time to get it right. But that decision is coming up." Top Flight, by far the most lucrative in the world, generating £6.7 billion in domestic broadcast rights alone for the 25 to 29 cycle. Masters said the proposed higher spending cap would help Premier League clubs maintain their competitive edge. UEFA said it's 70. Our system's 85 because we always want our clubs to have the ability to invest. Premier League has been built on the back of investment in which international capital flows are coming in. We don't want that to be stifled off. The new rules are initially intended to be in place for this season will be put to a vote by the Premier League clubs next month. So keep an eye on that. But he also denies that the Premier League transfer spending is damaging European football, arguing instead that it breathes life into rival competitions, according to Paul McGuinness's work at The Guardian, noting that England's elite clubs had a bigger share of the world's best players from the summer's record-breaking £3 billion spending. Masters said 7 of our clubs were net recipients and lots of inter-Premier League transfers, but a lot of that money does percolate out of the big European leagues, a substantial portion of that, and breathes life into their own transfer markets. So I don't see how it's suffocating the European game. I believe this is probably going to end up being required reading today. And here's the article from McGuinness at The Guardian, and it is in the Twitch pitch. Morning, Kefsi. Morning, Emilio. Morning, David. Morning, Bart. Morning, Alex. And it looks like a lot of you have not had your emails yet. It is that time. That's your early news. We'll sprinkle news in and around our guests this morning and get you ready for your day. Time to catch up with our buddy Kaylor Hodges. And it is time for Kaylor to break down everything. And it's pretty busy in the USL Championship and USL League One. Yes, because of stuff on the field, but there's a lot of off-the-field stuff as well. Here's your recap with Kaylor about what's going on inside USL Championship and USL League One. And it's time to catch up with our friend Kaylor Hodges at the USL show, at Kaylor Hodges, to find out about what has gone on the last 30 days. And am I underselling it to say it's been a very, very busy time in the USL?
Busy into the season. Got some disputes going on between players and owners. Yeah. We're expanding according to one club, but no confirmation otherwise. A whole lot of everything, and we're almost to the business end of the season.
So let's start with the heavy news, and then we'll get into expansion and teams because we kind of glossed over it. But obviously, you guys have more intel than I do. The USLPA is not pleased with the league. Please, sir, expand, as Henry Ford said in Ford versus Ferrari.
So I think the first time I came on to this show this year, to talk USL, I have been beating the drum about the CBA. If you go back to March, even February, and when we brought up ProRel, everything, I have been talking about the CBA and how it's coming to an end this year. Now, the USLPA, which is the USL, United Soccer League Players Association, they have a CBA with the league that runs out December 31st of 2025 this year. And in that, they are wanting some new things. They want league-mandated healthcare. They want pay raises, fair pay for what they are doing, especially as Division I is coming. There is a whole lot of other things that they are also trying to look at, like actual year-long contracts as opposed to 10-month.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a big deal until you realize that those are 2 months out of the year that they are just not being paid.
Right.
And a lot of those players take on coaching jobs, but it'd be nice to have a little bit more stability. Those are really the primary things that they are kind of talking about. But when I brought it up at the beginning of the year, I also mentioned the fact that ProRel, the big shiny toy that the USL is dangling in front of everybody, cannot happen without a CBA, because legally, by definition, is a change in the workplace environment. If there is a change to the workplace environment, legally, you have to create a new CBA. This is going to be your preamble. This is your beginning steps of having a working relationship with the players. If this gets off to a rocky start, which it is, they're already asking – the players are asking people to block the USL Championship, not League One, because League One goes through 27, I believe. And they're asking them to block the USL Championship. They're asking fans to basically not support the clubs right now because of what's going on. That's an issue. And if things are this bad now, when you're asking for health insurance and 12-month contracts, what's going to happen when ProRel's added into the mix? Hey, what happens to our contracts after we get relegated? Will we get the same contract after promoted? Do we get a pay rise when we're promoted? If we get relegated after getting promoted, what happens then? There's a lot of moving parts that, guess what? The owners don't want to hear this because it's not this way in any other sports league. The players hold the power here.
And you're right, and I would imagine that the USL probably needs to make a phone call to the EFL to figure out how they navigate things in the Championship, League One and League Two, and in concert with the Premier League and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I mean, I would also maybe a step closer would be the Irish leagues, because they have 2 professional leagues that are promotion relegation, and it's a closed system. So you can't work your way from Sunday league all the way up to the top flight in Ireland. I think that's a little closer to what we are going to be seeing here in the U.S., but they still have to deal with the same problems. And it's a lot smaller scale than we have step 1 all the way to step 10. And then past step 1, you have the EFL. Like, that's a lot bigger of an issue. I think probably your Irish Premier or your Irish leagues are a little closer. But even so, this is where the players have the power. This doesn't work in the NFL, in Major League Baseball, in NBA. Like, yes, they'll have a lockout, they'll have a strike, and in the end, the owners give up about 1% of their wealth, and everything's just fine in the end. If the players do not agree to this, ProRel cannot happen.
The leagues don't happen, period. Yeah.
Now, the other side of this is, can there be a lockout? Even before this, I've read the PA CBA so many times. There's been so many times that I've had to dig up the CBA when we dealt with Loudon, like good pitches. How can all that stuff work? Technically, Loudon did not break any rules within the CBA. It's not great, but they didn't break any rules.
Right.
There's a lot of situations like that. It's like, man, that stinks, but it didn't break rules according to the labor situations that were agreed upon. But this says in there in the stipulation, the players cannot have a lockout, which a lot of people have been pointing to lockout cannot happen. But the rest of the sentence says during the terms of the CBA. So come January 1st, it's fair game. And what happens a month after January 1st? Preseason starts. Now, is there going to be a lockout? I don't know. I think they're going to try to avoid it at all costs. I think no matter what, more than any other sport and any other league in this world, the USL, everybody will lose if there's a lockout.
No doubt.
Because if the players choose to lock out, this is an international sport. If they bring in scabs, quote unquote, right? Someone who just graduated from college, you tell a kid who just graduated from college, you get to play in the USL Championship when you previously didn't get a chance to. How many of those kids will choose to cross the picket fence by a chance of being professional? Okay, there's someone over in Europe, someone in Asia, someone in South America. Hey, this is your last chance to be a professional. You want to come here and try. You'll get to be paid. You get to do that. Yes, you'll have to cross the picket fence, but that has nothing to do with you, right? Come on over. What will that more than likely do? It'll probably bring down the talent again. We'll probably see talent closer to what we saw with USL Pro when it was D3 than it being D2, which is, I mean, you've been seeing this league for a long time now. Where we are right now is not far off of where MLS was about 10 years ago, right? And I understand that, like, that sounds like, okay, that was 10 years ago. But if we go back to USL 10 years ago,
yeah,
and then look at the owner side,
mm-hmm.
they have to sell a product to their fans that is significantly worse if they get scabs, right?
Especially with television contracts and media contracts that they have broadcasting all the games.
Yep. No one wins. There is no winner here. But I also think that if you're a USL player, come January 1st, the only way to get what you want, which is stuff you deserve, like healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And when people hear that, these are professional athletes that get injured. What happens when they get injured?
Yeah.
They don't have health care.
Mm-hmm.
In the contracts, they might have some group health care that they can opt into, but it's not mandated. What happens? That's your livelihood.
Yeah.
You can't get paid. You don't make money, especially if you're on a performance contract, which exists. There are contracts that are performance. They are not guaranteed contracts. They are performance-based. And if you are injured and you cannot perform, what happens to your contract?
Yeah.
And what happens to your health insurance? Everything that goes. That's what the USLPA is fighting for. Now, this is where I have to hold my hand up.
Sure.
We said this on the USL show 2 nights ago. We are a pro player podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We are pro. We have always been on the side of the labor disputes because I don't go to games to watch owners own. I don't care about that. I go to see the game be played. So I'm going to be on the side of the players. But this also means that the players are probably going to have to give some. You know, things like 12-month contracts. If you're really dead set on health insurance, you're probably not going to get those 12-month contracts.
Yeah.
If you're dead set, and whenever we get to Pro Rel, if that becomes a conversation, you're going to have to figure out how are we going to get a D1 CBA, because we still don't have a Super League CBA. Will the Super League and the men's D1 league be the same? We don't know. There's a lot of negotiations that are happening right now that the PA might have to say, that's not this CBA's problem. That's the next one. Because if I'm a player, I'm eyeing the next one, even though they might not be in the league anymore, because that's the Pro Rel one. The next CBA will be the Pro Rel CBA. And then they have every single ounce of power, because if they do not sign it, Pro Rel does not happen.
Nothing like dropping half the segment talking about legalese down here. Then do we have an update on the Pittsburgh-Hartford situation? What happened there? It was an ugly scene.
Yeah, so there was an incident that happened between Hairston and Danny Griffin. Mm-hmm. Now, what was alleged to happen was Danny Griffin was allegedly said to have said some kind of racial slur to Hairston.
Right.
Hairston reported to the official, reported to his coach, reported to his front office, and he left the pitch. Hartford then decided to leave the match. They said the match was abandoned. That doesn't really matter here. But then Hartford puts out a statement that says a player used a racial slur, and it was seen on ESPN Plus of him saying, I did not, Danny Griffin saying, I did not say that. I did not say that. I did not say that. Mm-hmm. By all accounts, Danny Griffin, like, stand-up, wonderful human, like, has been known to be social, been on the front line of social justice issues, that kind of person. So for him, his name to be kind of the circle of this, not great. Then it came out through an actual CBS article, like proper CBS, mm-hmm. name dropping Griffin when Hartford did not. Hartford did not say Griffin, but CBS proper did. And then other groups named him specifically, where Pittsburgh has said, and Dan Griffin has said, I did not say that. I did a polygraph. I did everything else. There's nothing that says I said it. I know I didn't say it. Everybody on my team knows I didn't say it. And it's becoming a big he said, she said.
Right.
Now, on the USL show, I said, do not come to any conclusions about Hairston or Griffin until after the appeal. Because we have seen, actually, with Hartford versus Tampa Bay a few years ago, Lawrence White was alleged to say something.
I remember that.
He got a 12-match ban. It got appealed to 0.
Mm-hmm.
There was no evidence that it happened. There is now an active defamation lawsuit against the USL for his name being dragged through that.
Wow.
And when they went through an arbiter, there was no evidence found that said that he deserved that ban. And I'm not saying that Hartford is the team that cried wolf. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Hairston deserves hate here. In fact, I'm going to tell you the opposite. Hairston reacted properly here. He reported to the ref what he thought he heard. He reported it to his coach, what he thought he heard. He reported it to his front office, what he thought he heard. He did not say anything to the media. He did not post anything on social media. He did not name drop anybody. He handled this correctly. Everything else that happened afterward is what this turned into. I hope that this situation does not stop other players from speaking up because he followed the correct protocol. Everything else was out of his control. But I will also kind of say this on the Hartford side. They tried to claim the match was abandoned. They tried to go through this thing of saying like this was going to be replayed or continue being played or some of the sort. And the silence from USL HQ, I think, tells you everything you need to know. Hartford lost 3 points. They did not continue playing, and they lost that opportunity to get 3 points or at least get a point back.
Right.
I think in the end here, people are going to try to demonize Danny Griffin for what they thought he said when there is no proof of it. And I think there's going to be other people who are going to demonize Hairston for reporting what he thought he heard. I think that you need to be rational here and say, if that happened, that's awful. That should never happen. But we cannot assume that Griffin said it. But you also should not say Hairston cried wolf and was just trying to get something out of the game by making up a story when that's not what happened. In the end, we're probably not going to know. We're probably not going to know what truly happened. You're going to hear a lot of he said, she said, he didn't say, she didn't say. Mm-hmm. And we're just kind of have to live with that, unfortunately.
All right, rapid fire. A lot of franchise news. It appears Brownsville is in at some point. Reno is in at some point. Mm-hmm. Boise is setting records with their ticket desires, and folks are pretty much snapping up every Boise ticket that they can.
6,000 before a match has even been played is
that's not bad. That's not bad. We got news where it appears. Now, let me ask you this: did you get the Texoma Collin County FC email that was in Latin? Did you get that one? Because I did.
I also did. Quite and that was something, and this is after they denied that this was happening. There was an article that was posted by Southeast Soccer Report,
right,
that was stating this was going to happen. They said, no, absolutely not. You have no idea what you're talking about. And then, well, here we are. In the end, it's not that far from where they play. And technically, Texoma is a region and not a city. So,
yeah, well, and there were concerns over the stadium that they were in, that there wasn't really proper scoreboarding and things like that. And so if I'm setting this up correctly, they would be moving to McKinney, where they have the D2 American Football Championship. I think they would be in that building, giving them more tenants and things like that. So have I missed any other franchise news other than Texoma / Collin County, Brownsville in Reno in? Have I missed anything?
Allegedly Temecula FC.
Oh, Temecula, yeah.
Temecula, sure.
Temecula.
Yes. I'm from Alabama. They don't teach me those words about. Is that California? Is that Cali, or is that Texas?
It's Temecula is California, because Temecula FC was big in the NPSL.
Yes. They have stated that they are focusing on joining League One. This is after they were just about to kick off for NISA Pro.
Right.
They were begging people basically to get season tickets so they can play in NISA Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before the tournament's about to start, they said, we're not doing NISA Pro anymore. We're doing League One. League One has not said anything.
Mm-hmm.
This is making news because everyone's just confused. But I don't really know what to make of it until the league says something like, yes, this is happening. I just take it as somebody's owner got very overzealous and is trying to force their way in somewhere.
Jägermeister Cup final, Hartford and Sacramento. What's your gut tell you?
My gut's telling me Sacramento because I do think that Sacramento is currently a top 3 team in the USL right now. But Hartford's legit. They got a former basically all-world striker, basically, Aji Berry. He comes back and he's going to be heading up the front line for Hartford after losing Yang. So they have the attack to do it. They've been shoring up that back line, but they've kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Mm-hmm. So for me, I am seeing this being a Sacramento win, especially being at home in Sacramento. The Indomitable is hard to beat out in Sacramento. So I'm leaning Sacktown.
The playoffs, we've got some folks who've locked their places in the Eastern Conference. We know it's Lou City, Charleston, and everybody.
What?
Else. I know. I'm shocked.
No way.
I'm just stunned. They distance themselves as they traditionally do. But then you have the chase groups in the middle, and then you have the chase group trying to get into the discussion. Same in the Western Conference. You've got Tulsa, who's on top. That, to me, is one of the biggest stories of the season when it comes to the championship. Then you have Sacramento, New Mexico United. Then you've got the folks chasing them, and then you've got Orange County that is trying to work their way in with matches in hand to try and unseat either Switchbacks or Phoenix, who've drawn 5 in a row, which is really weird. 7, 7, and 12 right now. Do you think that the 8 that are in position now in the East and the West are going to be the 8 in the East and the West, or do you see somebody from the outside in, like a Rhode Island or an Orange County, making their way in?
So I'm going to start with the West because I'm a little bit more torn on the West. I could see Orange County getting in. The issue is I'm not sure who would be in place of. However, Switchbacks have been falling back down to earth, losing 3 straight.
Right.
That looks like the obvious one. Phoenix, while drawing 5 straight, winning 1, drawing another, technically unbeaten in 7.
Yeah.
The most depressing unbeaten streak. But they're going to continue to get points. Meanwhile, I kind of see Colorado dropping more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
My gut is telling me that Orange County is going to hop one of the 2. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure which one of the 2, likely Colorado Springs, but not positive on that. It could be a Phoenix, but I'm thinking more Colorado Springs. After that, I feel like the rest of the field is kind of set. On the Eastern side, I think the 8 is set. We saw what Rhode Island did last year. They can obviously get hot, but they haven't shown it to me this year. They just have not shown it to me. I don't believe.
9 right now in USL League One is AV Alta. They've lost 3 in a row. Greenville Triumph have won 2 in a row, 31 points in 30 with a handful of matches left. Everybody's like at the 26 mark, short of Velocity and P-Hop. Right now, Tormenta with McKeever, they've won 5 in a row, 5 on the spin to get them to 35 points, and they're right at 500. Are you looking at the 8 that are in League One being the 8 that get in? Or do you see Alta or Triumph or Ford Madison or Texoma, anybody on the outside looking in that'll make a charge and knock some?
Well, don't look now, but One Knox is top of the league.
I know.
Currently
One Knox and Chattanooga. I did not have those 2 at the top of the league in my bingo card.
One Knox was in conversation. One Knox was definitely in my top 3 or 4 coming into this year. but Chattanooga, we all had the conversation about Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what I'm looking at is I'm seeing an ascending Greenville Triumph, whom I did call dead on the last episode of the USL show that I was on, but they have suddenly started winning again, which they constantly confuse me. If they were going to go above anybody, they would obviously have to go above Avialta, who just is broken, just completely broken right now. I could see them getting above a Charlotte Independence because they are absolute feast or famine as a club. Defensively, they're pretty solid, but you're relying on Christian Chaney popping up in big moments, getting a brace somehow, usually scoring at least one penalty along the way. And it just doesn't happen enough. Meanwhile, Greenville is slowly figuring it out after dying for a while. And I don't know. It's mass chaos. Union Omaha looks great right now. They got a 1-0 win over Portland Hearts of Pine, a club that I said was going to find themselves in a home playoff game because of how many matches they had in hand. They played basically every game until the end of the season at home, except for, hey, top of the table, one Knox. I still think I could see a Portland Hearts of Pine find themselves in a home playoff spot. I think that Spokane is going to hop FC Naples. I think FC Naples is going to fall down. Again, Union Omaha, they are about as hot as can be right now, but not hotter than in-state right now, Mark McKeever, Mark McKeever has learned to score goals. We've never seen this before out of Mark McKeever. When he was at Mississippi Bria, didn't see it. When he was at Des Moines, kind of different at Des Moines because they were just so good. But kind of didn't see. You didn't really see it. When Knox, you never saw it. What were they always? Gritty defensive teams that grind you down to a 1-0. He was the Mississippi Bob Lilly. And then out of nowhere, he has discovered scoring goals wins games. I don't know how they've done it, but I did come on the show and tell you that Yannick Bazzini was a dark horse to win Golden Boot. Yeah. And under McKeever, I'm being kind of proven right now. I'm excited for what this Tormenta team is because I said preseason I thought they were a sneaky, they could win the league team, and then they got off to an awful start. Yeah. Well, they won their first game, but then they got off to an awful start after that. Yeah. They're showing it under McKeever, which is not something I thought I'd say.
All right, cut the promo for me, my friend. What's going on with at the USL show and at Kaylor Hodges?
Hey, Kit season is wrapping up their season this year. So I think this is season 4 that is wrapping up. And teams keep dropping kits. So I don't know. They might have to make a special episode of all the kits we loved before or something. I don't know. And then, hey, every single Tuesday night, the USL show, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm not going to guarantee, but we are starting to do a little planning for making it to either League One or the championship final this year for another live show.
The championship, you're thinking?
The championship squared, yes.
Okay, good deal.
Possibly.
So, yes, and obviously when the season ends, it's not going to be a month from now, but once the season ends and we know the playoff matchups, you're hopping in, and that's when business picks up for you when it comes to us here at SDH AM. As always, my friend, great to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for the update. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to think about. As always, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Kaylor Hodges from the USL show, at the USL show, at Kaylor Hodges. And that's your rundown of everything USL Championship, USL League One. Yes, there's a lot going on. All right. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Today, you got a boatload of Europa League and Europa Conference League stuff. We'll get into juice boxes probably at the end of it all. CBS Sports Network has doubleheader Europa League, 12:45, Roma Lille, Feyenoord and Villas at 3. U20 World Cup, USA and France is at 4 o'clock. That's on FS2. Nigeria, Saudi Arabia after that. We'll talk to Bart about that tomorrow. The U17 roster is out today. That includes Cooper Sanchez, and the senior roster should be out later today. We'll talk about that as well. Bart's going to bat lead off tomorrow. GOLTV, Copa Uruguay, Defensor Sporting, and Central Españols at 7:30. You can get that at Fanatis, ftz.co/soccer down here. And you can get Fanatis, TIC, TVV, GOLTV in English and Spanish, all the BNs, Tigo Sports, Canal 4, CATV Sports attached as well, Liga 1 Max Pro, and all the things. You can get all of them. When you get all the BNs, that gets you into AFCON. You've got the LPF. Argentina is there. And you've got Uruguay that's available to you as well. A lot of the South American leagues are up for you at fanatisfntz.co/soccer down here. Helps them out, helps you out, and continues to add to the number of leagues that you find out about stuff that helps you out when you do picks of the week on soccer over there Monday nights at 8. Paramount Plus has 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 matches in the Europa League, and all of them are either at 12:45 or 3. Conference League has 3, 6, 9, 14 matches in the Conference League, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17 in the Conference League. Once again at 12:45 and 3. We'll go over juice boxes in a bit. Peacock simulcasting the U20s, Colombia, Norway at 4, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia at 7. CONCACAF W Champions League, Monterrey and Vancouver's at 9 on the Plus, as also on Paramount Plus at 9 o'clock. So you've got that to look forward to as well. Running down everything that happened last night, in addition to everything that we saw. CONCACAF W Champions Cup, Gotham got a semifinal berth with the draw against Washington Spirit. 3 wins and a draw. They worked their way through. You have everything that happened in the Champions League yesterday. Barca beats Barca and PSG. PSG wins. Gonzalo Ramos gets the winner. Luis Enrique, with all the injuries, had a lot of youngins out there, and they ended up getting the Duke. High defensive line for Barca, kept getting punished by PSG the entire time. Big win for Newcastle, 4-0 over Union Saint-Gilloise. Anthony Gordon got 2 PKs. Manchester City, Eric Dyer gets a late penalty converted. 2-2 draw with Manchester City. Erling Haaland had a brace. He scored, I think, on his first touch and shortly thereafter. Villarreal and Juve, Renato Vega had a stoppage time header. That denies Juve their first group stage win. Also in the Champions League yesterday, Arsenal shuts out Olympiacos 2-0. Bayer Leverkusen, PSV a 1-1 draw. Dortmund, no problem with Bilbao 4-1. Napoli over Sporting 2-1. We might get into that with Nino coming up here in a bit. Villarreal, Juve at 2-2. Karabag probably scored the upset of yesterday. The 2-0 win, and you figured somebody was going to stumble at Karabag. It was Copenhagen. Copenhagen goes in as a plus 108 favorite. Karabag gets the win at a plus 270, and they get the full points there. And Newcastle, once again, at a minus 110 over Royal Union 4-0. No dilly, no dally zone. We go from here to Lima, Peru. We get to check in on our buddy Nino Torres and find out what's going on, because we got Copas. We got a big Copa tonight. We got Portugal. We got South America. We got all points in between. The man has fixed his headset. I hope he's properly hydrated, because it is time now to go fully loaded on a Thursday. And here we go. Yellow, yellow, yellow. How you doing?
Yellow, yellow, yellow. Soccer Down Here fans. Nino Torres fully loaded with you on this gorgeous Thursday in Peru. I can see a thing because there's a lot of fog out there, but I feel like I'm in London, but it's okay. It's okay. It's just part of my beautiful Lima, Peru, man. How you doing, Johnny?
As always, my friend, it's great to see you. All right, I have our list. I have our list. I have the list. I have yet to see it, so this is me flying off the cuff. We lead off by going, the Final Four is set in Sudamericana and Libertadores, and Nino Damas' dark horses are all in there. You crushed it, Nino Damas.
Baby, you know, that Liga de Quito,
Ooh.
Liga de Quito,
Ooh.
it's just that defense. That defense, and hopefully by now our listeners, they believe in Nino's scouting powers about the defense of Liga de Quito and Ricardo Ade. Probably they heard about Ricardo Ade. He was in the best 11 in the last round of the Copa, and like I said, like I've been saying for weeks now, the only 2 dark horses in the competition, the only 2 teams in South America that can sit up against the almighty Brazilians are Liga de Quito and Racing Club. All right, and both are in the Final Four. And listen, if Liga de Quito gets a significant win in the altitude, they might be the biggest upset in, I don't know if in the history of the Copa, but could be one of the top ones. Could be one of the top ones, taking down this Palmeiras that is just absolutely brutal. I mean, I can't guarantee. I'm not saying that the league is gonna go through, but it's gonna be a heck of a battle with Palmeiras, man. A heck of a battle. And on the other side of Racing, I have, I think they're gonna be in the finals.
Okay.
They're gonna be in the finals. All right. With Racing, that it's a different series, but this one, it's up in the air. It could be either or. It could be either Liga or Palmeiras.
You look at the Copa Libertadores, who, for those who missed out on the legs last time out, Racing shut out Vélez Sarsfield, then they advance. Palmeiras they thumped River Plate. I mean, this was like a thumping, man. Palmeiras 3-1 over River, and everybody is calling for heads. Gallardo, he's keeping his head low with what happened after that. Liga de Quito in the game at Sao Paulo wins it 1-0. You mentioned your defense. Liga de Quito, for that match itself, in the juice boxes was a plus 870 to win.
870.
Plus 870. Nino Damas keeps telling us about Liga de Quito. Liga de Quito was a dog in that match at Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo was a minus 270. Liga de Quito, a plus 870. Guess who got the Duke? The team that had the defense. And then you had Estudiantes and Flamengo go to penalties, and you had the end result there with Estudiantes. And so Estudiantes out. You got Liga de Quito and Palmeiras, and the juice boxers, they're kind of like, right now it's kind of dead square.
Well, what is it?
Plus 171 for Liga de Quito at home, plus 169 in the composite for Palmeiras. So basically, it's within the margin of error.
Right
plus
there. You see? He's right there, brother.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then the night before, Racing Club and Flamengo, a big favorite at home, obviously, in the semis at a minus 227.
But watch out for Racing.
And then Sudamericana, we know who the Final Four are there. Break it down in what happened to get us to this Final Four of IDV, Atlético Universidad de Chile, and Lanús.
Can I? I'm just gonna laugh about this a little bit because is that mean, Nino? Is that mean to laugh about your arch rivals getting ousted of the Copa Libertadores? Maybe a little bit, just a little bit. But I just wanted to say this because this is the thing, Johnny, right? In Peru, I mean, all the Alianza Lima media, because they have their media, right? It's not the media, it's Alianza Lima's media, all right? They were preaching or saying and moving the masses because this team, these are literally the words of this content creator for Alianza Lima, who, by the way, is the play-by-play announcer for the Liga Uno. All right, play-by-play announcer, not the only one, but one of the announcers in the Liga Uno, who calls against for Alianza Lima, and he is just obnoxious, right? He's obnoxious. Even though, listen, Johnny, you can't. I mean, you know me. I'm a Universitario Deportes fan, right? And I go extremely high when Universitario Deportes plays.
You do,
but I can't say if a player tackles a player for Universitario Deportes, I was like, oh no, oh my God, are you gonna be okay? And then if it's gonna be a red card, please don't show the red card to my player. He said to my player.
Okay.
You can't say that, brother. You can't go that way. All right. I mean, they're levels. They're levels. You can't cross the line.
Yeah.
You can't cross the line because this is not like, this is Alianza Lima TV. Okay. Yeah. And then a lot of people from the media, they were saying Alianza Lima is going to go into the finals. They're going to go into the finals. Brother, you're still in the quarterfinals. What are you talking about the finals? You didn't even beat the guy in the quarterfinals. You gotta still go to the semifinals, and then hopefully you get into the finals. But no, everybody was talking about Alianza Lima winning the Copa Sudamericana. All right, and what drove me crazy is that in this was the best. I mean, the most important game of the year for Alianza Lima against Chile, and they were playing in an empty stadium. Because Universidad de Chile was banned from the fans, right? Because their fans were banned from the game for certain games.
Yeah,
and they just wasted their opportunity. And what makes me so mad is that several players after the game, they say, yeah, we kind of we kind of enter the pitch like kind of sleepy, you know. We didn't realize. Do you realize what? It's just unforgivable, brother. You gotta be 150,000% focused from the get go, from the initial whistle.
Yeah.
Of course, in the second half they try, you know, they try to do things different. Gorosito make some substitutions, and then after after the game, Gorosito was saying he was, you know, dropping little bombs about his players. Right? I didn't put this guy on the starting 11 because. You know, nightlife and what do you mean nightlife? What are you talking about? Gets to this guy and then there was this player Pedro Aquino. You might know Pedro Aquino played in America. I think he played in the MLS. So Aquino played in the MLS. I don't think so, but anyway, he's having issues, fitness issues, right? And he said, you know what? I'm not going to train after this game because I'm too tired. So what do you mean? What do you mean? No, coach. I cannot take the day off because I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired. You know, my belly hurts, mama. My belly hurts, mama. I can't go. I can't go and stay home watching cartoons. No. So that there's a little things that are coming out for Alianza, and I'm sorry. Okay, but You can be a whiny blee 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 when you play international competitions, okay, and then blame Universitario Deportes for different things because you're not capable of playing 2 tournaments in the same season.
Our friend Marcelino Moreno has continued to help Lanús to get to the next round, knocking off Fluminense. That was a 1-1 draw in the second leg. They advanced through to plus 236. ATLUTD over Bolivar 1-0. Independiente del Valle go to penalties, and if anybody saw Once Caldas and Independiente del Valle in the penalty shootout, that was pulling out your hair. And Chile over Alianza Lima 2-1 to minus 115. So that now sets up your next matches, and that is coming up in a couple of weeks. IDV and ATLETI. IDV right now is a plus 110 favorite, and Chile is favored at home against Lanús at a plus 140. So that's the 21st and the 23rd.
Right, Johnny, and one more thing here on these 2 competitions. Okay, it's the not the dominance, but the what's the word for this? Recognition of the Liga Pro Ecuador as the 3rd best league in the continent. Once again, putting out a team in semifinals in both competitions. Okay, and it sets it out. It says it right there. It is Brazil with 2 in the semifinals, and they got nothing in the Sudamericana, right? They got what's the other one? They got one.
Right? Is Ecuador, Brazil, Chile, Argentina.
Ecuador, all right, just one Brazilian. All right, and Chile just squeezed 1 team in there, but it says this because in the last 5 years, the league that had the most points behind Brazil and Argentina is the Liga Pro Ecuador. 51% of the points are being won by the Liga Pro Ecuador in the international competitions in CONMEBOL. And this is just another proof that why this league is so powerful, is so dynamic, and it produces that many players. I'm going to say in the last decade, Ecuador is the league that they grew the most in South America.
Why Lamine Yamal is the next king? He's not bad. He's all right.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Lamine Yamal, he's all right.
It's all right. Okay. All right.
He's all right.
Listen, it's just, you know what? Why I'm saying this is because I remember when Leo Messi came in, right? Like 2005, 2006, you know, doing wonderful things. And of course, he got a crew. You know, he got Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. He got a crew, right?
Mhm.
But I remember saying this from many people in the media. No, he's not the best. The best is Xavi. The best is Iniesta. No, without Xavi and Iniesta, he's nothing. And without them, he won everything. Right? Without them, he won everything in the end. Right? But it's just constantly attacking. Right? And trying to downgrade the greatest. Right? I mean, you can say whatever you want, all right? Because suddenly the news are not. I was watching the game, and Lamine Yamal was fantastic, right? But suddenly he's not the news. The news is Nuno Mendes, right? Nuno Mendes, he's the best left back. He shut him down again. He beat him again. He cannot beat a quality left back in the opposition, and it's just more proofs. Man, the haters, they're gonna be the haters are growing. Right, haters are growing around Lamine Yamal. Of course, you know his personality doesn't help, right?
No.
His flashy personality, flashy press conferences. He's a different. He's a different character, man. He's a different character. He's like, yes, I am that good, and I'm not afraid of saying that. Right, because nowadays everybody is so sensitive. No, you can't say that. You know, all these participation trophies, everybody wins. You gotta be part of the game, and if you don't win, it's okay. No, I am a winner, and I'm telling you in your face that I'm a winner. Okay, so I don't have an issue with that, brother. Honest, I'm sorry, but I don't have an issue with that kind of attitude. If, of course, you got to back it up on the pitch, right? If you don't back it up on the pitch, yeah, you can talk all you want, but he cuts and he plays. So as long as you can still, as long as you back up your statements with your feet, with your goals, I'm okay with that.
That's the biggest thing. If you can back it up, you can say whatever you want until you get knocked off. That's how I've always looked at it. And it's like, you know, look, everybody wants to sit there and in their press conferences, they'll say certain things, but if you can back it up at the end of the day, that's all that matters. The reason now we go to Portugal, and for those that might on a weekend go to Fanatis and check you out on GOLTV and have conversations with you on social media while you're calling the matches, which is always a joy. It is fantastic to have live conversation and have you doing 9 things at once when you were calling games on GOLTV. The reasons behind Porto's perfect season, the Dragons are unbreakable, you say. How unbreakable are they, sir?
They only conceded 1 goal, and it was an own goal this season. How about that? They only conceded 1 goal this season, and it was an own goal. Nobody has been able to score on the Dragons this season, and they're running perfect in Europe also. Okay, this 8 for 8. 8 games, 8 wins, no losses, no flaws. I mean, no flaws from Porto this season. And this is crazy because when I was doing my prep work for the season opener, I was reading several different media outlets, and everybody, I want to say 75% of the Portuguese and European journalists that I was reading, they were giving Porto as the number 1 team to win the Premier League. I was like, no, that's Sporting. In my mind, right? In my mind, no, not the Sporting. It's still better than everyone else. And nope. And the reason being, I mean, there's not only one, but there's several reasons. One of the key reasons is their defense, right? They went out there because that was a big liability for Porto last season. They were conceding so many goals. They were losing games that they shouldn't lose in forever. They lost to teams they haven't lost in like decades, right? So they got Farioli, and Farioli was like, all right, we need mean MFs in the back. So I'm gonna get to these 2 cyborgs, right? Because they're cyborgs right now. They're cyborgs, man. That's the best description that I have for these guys. Bednarek and Kivior, both are Polish. Both are Polish. Both, I mean, they play in Premier League. They got international experience, but they are, Johnny, they're so solid. It's like these guys are anticipating everything. They're 1 or 2 steps ahead of every single attacking option that the opposition creates. And it's crazy because at the end of the day, You don't see these guys out there tired. I'm telling you, these guys could play another game back to back because they're that good. They're that good because they don't sweat. They don't break a sweat. They're just like tack, tack, tick. Oh yeah, are you going that way? I know already. You got 2 laps on there, brother, around the corner. So how about you bring me some milk on the way back? It's just ridiculous. And they have talent. They have they have the renaissance of Pepe, who was not the at his best level last season, and this guy, of course, my wizard, Rodrigo Mora, and I got new nicknames, brother. I got new nicknames. We got the Lord of the Rings also in the midfield of the of Porto. That's Froholt, by the way. I call him Frodo, and when he plays barefoot, brother, it's a different story. And you know what? The stamina, the intensity that Porto, they got it back, because that was and that's why I like Porto a lot, because they got similarities with Universitario. These are sometimes they don't play the prettiest soccer, but boy, the warriors, and now they have dynamics, they have touches, they have a great defense, you got a great coach, and that's why they're number one, and they're ready to face the almighty rivals this Sunday. Oh, Clásico, Porto Benfica at Do Dragão Stadium. I can't wait for that game, bro.
Man, for those that might remember Jakub Kivior, you might remember him from his last cup of coffee with Arsenal, and Bednarek, you might remember him from his long tenure at Southampton. Yeah. And that's where the Premier League influence comes in, with the two of them as your two backs, your two center backs at the back from the Polish national team. In Portugal this weekend, Casa Pia is with Estoril tomorrow at 3:15. It is Gil Vicente Estrela, Nacional Moreirense, AFS in Alverca, Vitória Guimarães and Santa Clara. That's tomorrow. Then that's 2 days. Sorry. So 2 days. And then Sunday, it is the quadruple header. Arouca, Famalicão, Rio Ave, Tondela, Sporting and Braga, Porto and Benfica. Right now, the juice boxes on those last two. And I still give Portugal a boatload of credit. They don't have games all over the top of each other. It is literally one after the other. So you're locked in for the entire day. Sporting, big favorite at home at a -217, hosting Braga. Porto at home, a +104, hosting Benfica, who is a +261 at 4:15 on Sunday afternoon.
Yes, and this might be the last game for Braga's coach, because they've been doing horrible. I mean, horrible. They're not cannot be able to win at home. The pieces are not there. Ricardo Horta is probably in his worst season since I'm calling the league. Rodrigo, I forget what his last name. She says Amaral. Salazar. Rodrigo Salazar. He's wearing the number 10 this season, but the coach is insisting on playing these bunch of Spaniard kids that they're not producing enough. So I don't know if they lose bad. If they lose bad on Sunday, well, first they got to play today. You got to play Celtics today. So we'll see how it goes. If they win, probably he might get some credit. But if they lose bad on Sunday, most likely he's gonna be out. He's gonna be out. He's gonna be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th coach to be sacked before 10 rounds in the competition, man.
Wow. Then you're just getting into round 8. Universitario extended their dominance in Peru, 6 laps away from a three-peat. What's going on there?
We won the probably the one of the toughest matches last weekend against Cusco FC, which was one of the only undefeated teams in the competitions, and they are the number 2 in the annual table and in the clausura. Okay, and it was a matchup, and they were coming from a loss, and they're trying to bounce back, but we just destroyed them. We just destroyed them. Really bad at the Monumental. They got no business. We got an early goal. Valera scored, and shown the weapons, right? Shown all the weapons. And there's one thing here for this team, and not because it's my team, okay? Not because it's my Universitario Deportes, but because after the international break, after the international FIFA break, La U recovered Alex Valera and Edison Flores, who you guys might know, playing DC United. they recovered these guys, and there were some press conferences. There were a lot of noise against Universitario from players, from Alianza Lima, from Cristal, from everywhere, right? It's this hate around the team, and they were like, okay, so you hate us. Just hold my beer and watch how we're gonna crush you.
Yep.
And that's what they're doing. You see that the team is locked in from the very first second of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take prisoners. They were winning 3-0, and they win 82nd minute, 83rd minute, and they were still going on all their cylinders, man. They're firing up all the cylinders, 85, 90 minutes. This is a team that their physique, their fitness, it's on a different level, and they're showing that, and they're not just showing that, they're imposing that to the opponents. Last night against Alianza Atletico, we were playing away. In at the game, it was a cheapy game. I mean, not many chances created. A lot of grind, but the plays were not coming. 75th, 85th minute, boom, 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 kiss you and good night. And good night. And I know the people. This is the difference, right, between us and Alianza Lima. In Alianza Lima, they were talking about already the finals in the Copa Sudamericana. Okay, here we're not talking about the three-peat, that we're gonna win the three-peat. No, we're 6 laps away. We're still leading, but we're still focused. We know we don't have to go into pits because we got all our parts together. But we're not gonna look back. We're not gonna look in the rear mirror. We're looking to check our flag, and that's our goal, and that's how we do, and that's how we operate. That's why La Garra is the hustle for Universitario Deportes.
And for those that want to keep an eye on Luis Abraham, who used to be on the back line for Atlanta United, he's at Sporting Cristal. We get the chance to see him on a weekly basis, and we get to do that through our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. There's your promo. The saddest moment in Peruvian soccer this year. What happened there?
I mean, it's not. I mean, nobody got hurt. None of that. But it is sad. It's really sad because and they call it on air. They call it on air, Johnny. So there was a game in Sullana, in the north side of the country. In second half, the field reporter, the sideline reporter, hey. Announcer, I got something to tell you. What is it? The away bench is being robbed.
What?
They were robbed during a game, during a live game.
Wow.
They stole their equipment. A bunch of guys jumped the fences, climbed the fences, got into the opposition's bench, and they stole their equipment.
Did they catch these guys?
I think they caught one, but no. I mean,
wow.
The police was busy watching the game, man.
Wow.
And on top of that, there were like how many? Like three police officers.
Wow.
For 5,000 people.
That doesn't sound like a good ratio.
Right? It's it's 3 versus 5,000. Kind of like I don't think we're gonna go in there and because they jump back into the crowd.
Yeah,
was it in the crowd?
Oh.
Good luck.
Wow, man.
That happened. And
live TV, the bench is getting robbed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just it's sad, man. It is sad because we love the sport. We want our league to get better, and these decisions, like having three officers for 5,000 people, it's just they don't care about the game, man. They don't care about the game. And this guy, the president of Alianza Atletico, which by the way, it was at his stadium in Sullana. That's why now they're not playing game. Not because of that, but many other reasons. They're not playing their home games in there for the remaining of the season. He is part of the Peruvian Soccer Federation. He's the number 3 guy in the Peruvian Soccer Federation, and he doesn't care, man. That stadium hasn't been improved in like forever. since I remember. And actually, I played at that stadium when I was in college.
Oh wow!
And it's a disaster zone, man. It's a disaster zone, brother.
Still has changed from when you played there, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about I don't know, what, 30 years? Jesus, man.
Wow. Now let's talk a little TV to wrap things up, and we always love it when we get to catch up with you and get smart. So you say there's a TV rights fight in Uruguay. I mean, traditionally those are good things, but obviously I'm guessing this means that if nothing gets resolved, then nothing's going to be on the air. So they got to get it resolved. What's the fight about?
Well, the thing is, it's not. I mean, so far it's not good for us for GOLTV because
True.
GOLTV is the
yeah, and you can't talk to your friends in Kentucky about Boston River.
And this is the thing, right? The teams are not happy with how the money is being distributed among the teams. And of course, in Uruguay, I mean, Peñarol Nacional, and then you talk about the rest, right? It's what it is. That's why they built these tournaments in order to get as many clásicos as you can, because that's where the audience is, right? But of course, the teams like Boston River, for example, like Cerro Largo or I don't know, Wanderers, they need the money too. They need bigger money in order to just not sell their souls to stay afloat in the top flight division. So they got this meeting. And it was 33. How was it, Richie? It was overwhelming favoring changing the TV rights distribution for next year. So there's gonna be an auction. For this, of course, GOLTV is going to be one of the bidders again, and but we'll see what happens by the end of the year, man. By the end of the year, this situation should be resolved, and hopefully we'll still come in that league, man. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So, what are you calling this weekend?
Man, this weekend is massive. I got the Clásico, like I already mentioned. And then I got Friday Night Lights, River Plate versus Liverpool. We got early bird. This is crazy because this schedule I don't like. Sorry guys, but I gotta. It's my pipes. It's my pipes, right? Because I played 8 to 10 on Friday Night Lights, and then I got a Saturday morning game. 9:30 a.m. on Nacional versus Moreirense. Not gonna ease. I don't like it when it's set up like that. You got a night game and then you got a morning game.
No.
My throat doesn't like that,
Oh no, man, that's not cool.
So, but then I got a good break during the day, but that's not the point because I'm not happy with that.
That quick turn is nasty.
But then on Sunday, I got the Clásico. 3:30, nothing in the morning, nothing in the so it's good. It's good to set up for Sunday. I'm well rested for Sunday, which is the game, the biggest game in the network for the year. So I'm up for it. I'm so pumped. I just can't wait for Sunday, man.
Yep. And Jorge goes, Ricardo Ade has been underrated for years.
Oh yeah. And he's in what, 35 now? I think he's 35, 34.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you. I'm a prince. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Yep,
appreciate it, Jorge.
That's our buddy Jorge. As always, my friend, great to see you. Great to catch up. Great to get smart. And we'll be listening Friday night to Saturday morning. We're gonna be checking in on you just to make sure that everything and the pipes are okay, and see if you don't have to low gear anything for any part of the weekend, because if it's hurting on Saturday, you shut up, but you got to be ready for Sunday. We know about all of those quick turns and everything.
Yeah.
Make pipes. We got
pipes, bro. I got my hold
on.
You see, got my honey here.
There
honey.
You go.
My savior.
Yep, the honey and lemon. Love you very much, my friend. We'll be listening, we'll be watching, and we will come back and get smart again with you this same time next week.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate you. See you next week, guys. Take care.
Fully loaded with our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV, and he gets us smart with a bunch of things around the planet. And it's always fun to catch up because, admittedly, I will say this. until I started hanging around with Jason on a regular basis, I really didn't have an outlet to watch South American football, and from a league perspective. And then Jason comes in and he educates us all. And then Fanatis comes along, and then you go to GOLTV, and then you watch Nino, and then Nino comes on the show on Thursdays, and you kind of break everything down and all this. So it has been for me an education, and that's why we like to bring Nino in, other than to see him and to catch up with him and see what's going on. But it's an education which helps us on Monday nights when we have soccer over there and we have picks of the week. And if somebody decides to pick something in South America as a part of their picks of the week segment, we know what we're getting to. So you're not shocking anybody by sitting there and saying, well, I want to do something out of Peru, or I want to do something out of Uruguay. And it's like, yeah, okay, bring it, because we got smart on Thursday. We know what's going on. That's because of our buddy Nino Torres at GOLTV. And so, like I said, go to Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Fanatis is a part of it, a part of our family here at SDH, GOLTV, English and Spanish. And to be able to watch our buddy Nino walk us all through these games that he calls on a weekly basis, that it's a hoot. It's a hoot. It's a riot. It's an education. And that's why we love him. Among all, there are other reasons why, obviously, but that's, from a footballing perspective, that's why we love our buddy Nino Torres, and he comes in fully loaded. And it was, how many topics did we hit in like 30 minutes? Hang on just a second. Let me look at the list. We hit half a dozen topics in 30 minutes. If we did half a dozen in 30 seconds, that'd really be hitting it. But Sudamericana, Libertadores, Nino Damas, Lamine Yamal, Porto in Portugal, Universitario in Peru, Peru teams getting robbed during matches, and then the TV rights fight in Uruguay. And if they know what's good for them, then they'll re-up with GOLTV. All right. Once again, on a Thursday, what show can go from Alabama to Peru to Seattle, based in Atlanta? This one. And this is where we go and check in with our buddy Niko Moreno and Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart and find out what's going on in Major League Soccer on a Thursday as he's dialed up the studio space. He's dropping the Pulso lid. He's got the flag in the background. He's ready to go. As always, my friend. He's got the matching mug. He's got the mug to go with the lid. He's really promoting Washington State athletics and what's left of the Tupac. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, John? Excited to be on as always. We had a good night of soccer. We had Nashville getting their first title. We got LA Galaxy kind of surprising me by not getting, completely just played out of the park against Toluca. And of course, we got MLS. There's a little bit of everything, John.
No doubt. All right, so let's talk about Open Cup. We played the decisive moment in the second half. And we've all been kind of talking about it here this morning in hour number one. I thought that Palacios went down a little too quickly, and he looked like one of the trees in the forest that you might see on the way out to Washington State, and you're going out to the WSU campus out there in the Palouse. If a Palacios falls on the pitch, does anybody see it? Does anybody hear it? Apparently, yes. And a lot of us have thought that call was on the soft side, and the TV folks in their analysis were like, I don't know if you make that call this late in an Open Cup. Yeah, I get it. You've really got to, I get it. That's harsh. But if that's been part of your MO the entire time, it fits with your personality. It's that late in the game, it's drawn, and it's a title on the line. You can justify it, but I thought it was harsh.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little harsh, but at the same time, don't give the ref a reason. Don't wrap your arms around the guy. I mean, it's defending 101, especially in that moment in time, right? I mean, you had battled back into this game. I thought that Austin had moments in this one where they were pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big Nico Esteves type of guy. I don't think his tactics and his approach to the game is very exciting, and he's simplified a lot of what Austin has done, and I think that's worked to a certain extent. I think that they depend a lot on what Usuni does, and he shows up at least for one goal in this one. But I just thought that Nashville was always going to have the cards to win the game. You know what I'm saying? Even if they had less shots, even if they had less possession, even if there were moments in this game that they absorbed a lot of pressure. When you look at Mukhtar, you look at Sam, Surge, and you look at a midfield that, you know, does a good job at defending and making easy link up play. I just always felt like Nashville was going to get it. And look, that first goal with the little chess setup for Mukhtar, I mean, that's a thing of beauty, right? So I think that Nashville just had more game winners at the end of the day. And that's going to be the story with Austin. And you know, Owen Wolves played excellent, and Bukhari has started to really come on. And Ilya Sanchez and Pereira have finally developed a full report. But at the end of the day, it just felt like Nashville, regardless of not having a very good game, there were easy turnovers. You know, I thought that Austin could have gotten ahead in this one by at least a couple of goals. But, you know, good goalkeeping, decent defending from Nashville. Not great, but decent, specifically on set pieces. But at the end of the day, I think we get a rightful winner, and the very first title for Tennessee. Is that what I heard in the broadcast? The very first major trophy for Tennessee. That's wild.
First one in pro sports goes to Nashville SC, and obviously it speaks a lot to what BJ Callahan has been able to do there at Nashville in taking that roster and converting it from what they were used to with Gary Smith, which was defensive a little first and then leading itself into offensive elements, where it's now BJ Callahan's team. And I think this solidifies that this is BJ Callahan's team, and his philosophy has taken hold there in Nashville.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he built it from the back up, right? I mean, I thought he did a great job of bringing Andy Nahar. I think that he is probably one of the pillars of the success of this team under BJ Callahan. I thought that Palacios has been excellent. I mean, going down soft or not, I mean, that's a savvy move, but I think what he's done defensively, specifically, really solidifying that back there, has been excellent. I think Levitt's a guy that's one of the originals. Being out there was pretty interesting, right? But to your point, I think BJ Callahan is a coach that wanted to change the outlook of Nashville soccer, and I think he's done that, and you saw the fans really react to it. And to me, the coaching job goes not just into the system and what he's done collectively, but rescuing a little bit of Mukhtar. It felt like he had really dimmed down over the last couple of years. It felt like you didn't really know if he could have that MVP type of moments, and he's had those this season. I think that's all BJ Callahan understanding how to play Sam Surridge and Mukhtar, and how to get the best out of both of those guys. I mean, this guy's going to be possibly the golden boot in MLS, right? Sam Surridge is up there, and that is crazy to think and say about a Nashville team that we were used to saying they're hard to play, they're going to make it difficult, but they're not going to be very fun, not very offensive.
Yeah, and they were easy to peg late in the Gary Smith tenure. If you cut off the supply lines to Hani Mukhtar, they were easy to defend against, but you can't do that now. And Callahan has unlocked Sam Surridge, and it's now Surridge and Mukhtar, and then you get to try and figure out who that third one is going to be on any given day, because if you try to pin your defense to those two, then that means that there's a third dude that can be open, and you get to see the benefits of that. Before we get into a developing story, considering it is older than 5 minutes old as it broke, CanChamp goes to Vancouver, and Campeones goes to LAG. What about those two late last night?
I did not see the Canadian championship, but I did see the Campeones Cup. That one was interesting. I thought it was going to be a thrashing, honestly. I was surprised that LA Galaxy sat there and, you know, exchanged in the middle of the ring in a way that I didn't really know if they still had it in them. Yeah. It was just almost heartbreaking to see Greg Vanney go from being so static and getting that goal to getting that equalizer and that last second goal. Man, I mean, there's just too many white jerseys in that specific area, inside the 18, inside the 6, for that ball to get there, and for for it to just get pushed through. And I think then the Castro goal too is just lazy defending by the LA Galaxy. You can't just let the guy just roll the ball and be ready to go. And there's my alarm. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know what that was. It said dentist appointment for some reason. But no, you just can't allow a Toluca team that's as good as they are to just have this sort of opportunity. So it's the Galaxy in a nutshell. They've had so many opportunities to just win something, to just rescue the season, and it seems like no matter what, they just don't have enough talent. They don't have enough gamemanship. I like what Fagundes has done for the LA Galaxy. I really do like the passion. I like the creativity. You see him, really like kiss the badge and get this team rolling. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't going to be enough against Toluca and Vega and Castro and just a team that was very good. I mean, even Turco Mohamed got sent off, and he had to watch the game from upstairs. And even then, Toluca ended up being the better team. But like I said, I will give Vanny credit for getting these guys up for this game, for, exchanging with them. Pencil playing the 9. Peck gets a goal. There are some things that you hope to build off of for next season, but this has been a catastrophic season for Vanny and the LA Galaxy.
No doubt about it. And you got to figure out what you want to do in the offseason from here. That's going to be one of the larger stories in all of Major League Soccer. What is LAG going to do? All right. Since it's no longer broken news, considering it happened 8 minutes ago, let me go ahead I'll go ahead and do this anyway. It's more like developing story. I don't know. I guess maybe 10 or 15 minutes after something breaks, it's a developing story. But anyway, we'll hit the sounder. All right. National team got named for the October window. Came out at the bottom of the hour. It is USA and Ecuador, October 10 at Q2. 4 days later, they go to Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce City for the first time since 2017 for USA Australia. The 26 names that have been brought out: 4 keepers, Brady, Freeze, Schulte, and Turner; defenders, Arfston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Alex Freeman, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson, and Miles Robinson. So you get both Robinsons, Jedi and Miles. Midfield, Brendan Aronson, Diego Luna, Weston McKinney, Aiden Morris coming over from Middlesbrough, Christian Roldan, James Sands, Tanner Tessman, Malik Tillman. Forwards, Patrick Ajimong comes back from Derby County, Valerian Balogun, Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah, Haji Wright, and Alex Zendejas. Pulisic leads all players on the roster with a total of 80 appearances. Tim Ream, 77. Weston McKinney, 60. Brendan Aronson, 52. Matt Turner, 52. And Jedi with 50. Rounding out the 50 club, Diego Luna has appeared in 13 of the USMNT's 14 matches in 2025, leading that class. Ajimong and Arfston have 12. Ream has 11. Richards has 10. And so a number of the U.S. players bring the goal-scoring momentum into this October camp. And you're bringing back some dudes. It's not just trying to figure out, okay, what about Johnny? What about Dest? What about Pepe? Tyler Adams is missing camp for personal reasons. So that's the 26 that they're bringing in. New face, James Sands, who started for St. Pauli 5 in a row in the Bundesliga. You look at this group in the October window, Christian Roldan a part of it.
Love that, man. I think that he's earned it. I thought that he earned it in his last call-up and what he was able to do in the time he was given. I heard a lot of negatives on, him not being a good passer and just one too many turnovers. He had one bad one, but I thought that in general senses, his spacing, his quick delivery on the ball was very important for what the U.S. national team did in those 2 friendlies in transition, just not holding the ball, not overloading certain zones. I mean, he was a guy that I thought was very good in his time, and he deserves it. He's having a great season. Now, he's exhausted. I got to say that he's exhausted. He is by far the player with most minutes for the Sounders. He has done absolutely everything for the squad with a very difficult role where there's so much responsibility in being that main feature of pivots for Brian Smetzer and the Sounders. But I like it. Look, I look at this list, and the biggest thing for me is the goalkeeper. Is Matt Freese your guy? It kind of feels like it is, but there's always that desire to see other guys go in. I thought Chris Brady it's a fun one. I think that he's been very good with Chicago. Obviously, he's one of your young guys that you could get put into this bubble for the U.S. national team, which is very interesting. But what I do know is that the Euro snobs are going to be extremely upset with this list, and they're going to come at Pochettino with everything they have, because there's just one too many MLS guys that I love. Look, Diego Luna is a guy that he didn't have a great couple of showings with the U.S. national team as of late, but he's a guy that's always going to deliver in the effort, the passion, a guy that can be very creative and that can really give this team some interesting ideas. But obviously that midfield is extremely talented. But what I like about Pochettino in this list is that you're kind of getting away from this entitlement of certain players, and you're saying, look, there's competition. There's guys out there. I'm going to look at them, and I don't care where you're playing, what league. It's about the minutes you're playing, the responsibilities with your teams that you guys have, and coming in here in this camp and this friendlies and showing up. And look, Ecuador is a phenomenal parameter there, right? I mean, look, they were second in CONMEBOL. Not an easy thing. They're extremely athletic. They got a lot of talent. So, this is a team that could really get pushed. Ecuador is a team that could really push the U.S. national team. But to me, the bigger question marks are on defense and at goal. Because other than Chris Richards, I don't know who I want next to him. I know it's not Tim Ream, and it's definitely not Miles Robinson, not to me. So you got to figure that part out and kind of go from there. But there's some interesting names, man. Patrick Adjumang is another one that I'm hoping he continues to develop, continues to grow, and get some opportunities there.
And we'll keep an eye on that. Bart Kaylor from the Soccer for USPOD is going to talk about this roster, the U17 roster, and what we've seen at the U20s. He's going to bat leadoff for us tomorrow. All right, getting into the week that will be. There are a couple of matchups to talk about, but we talked about it a little bit yesterday with Dylan Butler when he came in. Red Bulls not in the playoffs for the first time in 15 years, and you wonder what the offseason is going to look like for them. Now you have Miami, Messi and friends. They took it in the chops, and you wonder where they are right now when it comes to the September of hell, having to make up all of the matchups that they had to do in league because they were doing other things and chasing after other trophies. So right now, Miami, match in hand, they are at 56 points. They can match Cincinnati. They'd still be a win less, but they'd still have goal difference. It was an interesting week in the midweek as Miami tries to come back online. You've got chaos in the Eastern Conference. You've got a couple of groups that are jammed together. When you look at the talking points coming into this weekend, San Diego, Vancouver are tied on points. Vancouver's got a match in hand. Minnesota is lurking. LAFC has 2 matches in hand. They could be at charge at the top of the table. Seattle match in hand, and they're fighting for the 5, so they don't drop to the 7 and try to figure out what's going on there because Austin and Portland are lurking. Colorado is at 40 points. They're the 8-9, but the 9 could be San Jose, Dallas, Salt Lake, or Houston. 4 teams trying to get in. You break this down. You make sense of this for me.
Look, for me, one of the biggest things that we got to see was the Inter Miami they did their bet. Now they got to lay in it, right? We talked about the things that they needed to do defensively. We talked about the lack of defending, the lack of bringing in guys to solidify that team. That in transition defense, they're a mess. And Chicago goes out there and puts a 5-piece on them, and you see Messi frustrated, and you see him trying to rally this team up. But at the end of the day, man, it's not about the offense because they were going there 2 by 2. It's the defense. You cannot be that vulnerable defensively and expect to get out of the playoffs. I'll tell you right now, they're not getting out of the East. They're not getting out of the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they get bounced in the first round.
Wow.
Just like they did against Atlanta, man. I mean, this is a team that is just so weak when it comes to just that defensive presence, and you need that in the playoffs, right? So it's just not enough. You're not getting enough from Luis Suarez, who, yes, he had a good game, but can you trust him in the playoffs to just put this team on his back? I don't. Agenda extremely inconsistent. At times he looks great. At times he just misses sitters. I mean, there's just so many question marks aside from Messi, right? Messi, you know what you're going to get. You know what he's going to do. But aside from that, man, it's this thing with too many question marks. When it comes to the West and those teams coming in, I like San Jose, man. I like San Jose. I like what they did against San Diego. No fear. Go at them. This Bruce Arena team is it makes me laugh every time that I watch this team. I forget that is Bruce on the bench because it doesn't feel like a Bruce Arena team. But as much as they are also a team that concedes a lot of goals, I think that they could really make a push there to just get into the playoffs. Seattle, they need to figure things out. They need to get some wins. There's some injuries. This week, we were told that Yemer Gomez-Andrade is out 4 weeks, meaning that he's going to be out for the remainder of the regular season. He might be able to come back. He will be able to come back for the playoffs, of course, but that's a big loss. Alex Roldan, he had a little thing in his hip. He was training. Brian said he could be available against the Timbers. This is a big game, and obviously I'm going beyond the fact that this is the derby, the Clásico. This is the game that you die for. But without certain pieces, oh man, it looks tough. I think that Seattle's going to have to outscore the Timbers. The Timbers are going to get theirs, in my opinion. They're going to be able to get theirs here at Lumen Field. So Seattle's going to have to outscore them. So you put the pressure on Jordan Morris, who looks good. The shoulder, he says he has no issues. We talked to him. He's excited for this game. This is a big game, of course, for this team. I think Jesus Ferreira is another guy that's going to have to show up against the Timbers. And Pedro de la Vega. We need to see Pedro de la Vega. I don't care if it's 30, if it's 60, if it's 90, if it's 122. You need to get this guy on the field. For Seattle to have success moving forward, HDH family, John, Pedro needs to be involved. He's your X factor. He's the guy that's gonna make a difference and that puts this team from a good team to an elite team. He does that for you, and you need him on the field. Now, of course, it's next man up mentality, but when it comes to the playoffs, you gotta get him in. It's been 4 games that he's been inactive. We talked to Brian. He said that just the games haven't developed to be able to put him in. But look. Love Brian. I think we've kind of bonded a little bit more. We're not at each other's throats so much, but I'm not a fan of the 4-4-2. And in the last game against Vancouver, he opted to bring Osata de Rosario instead of bringing in Pedro. I do not like that. I think that the most talented, most influential players for this Sounders teams, they're all in the wing and in the midfield. And if you got to push Albert back a line to play the pivot right next to Christian Roldan to add Osase, I mean, do you really want your top leader contributor in goals that far away from goal? I know I don't. And I get it. That is dynamic and you push and you move and you're going to be able to get him forward. But I just don't see it, right? So we'll see how that all works out. But Pedro de la Vega, just to conclude, has to be involved. And the Sounders have a huge game against the Timbers. They can get passed over in the standings, but it's beyond that. John, it's not about the standings. It's about getting this team trending in the right direction right before primetime, baby, right before the playoffs. You got to get them going. Playoffs? You talking playoffs, baby. So you got to get this team right.
Wow, I got to get that drop now. So Seattle is a -172. We'll start cliffhanger here. Draws a +329. Portland is basically a +400. But you wanted to go, since you were mentioning goals and that there were going to be a lot of them scored, over under 3.5 at a +122, 4.5 is a +273.
Ooh. I like the 3.5, baby. That's a safe bet. I like that 3.5 for sure. I'd rather go with the goals on that one, to be quite frank, than just picking a team. That 3.5, but I think there will be goals. There's going to be a ton of goals in that one. So yeah, give me the 3.5, no problem.
That's what I figured. That's why I went straight to that one. I just mentioned the numbers for the sake of mentioning the numbers, and that's why I immediately went to the number there. Red Bulls in Cincinnati. Red Bulls have a chance to sit there and put some sugar in the gas tank of FC Cincinnati at a plus 121 favorite at home. FC Cincinnati a plus 193 on the road, and the draw in the Swamps of Jersey is a plus 268.
I like the draw. Look, you talked about New York not making the playoffs, and it's crazy to me because there was a point in the season where I looked at New York City FC and I looked at the Red Bulls roster, and I like the Red Bulls roster more with Choupo-Moting and Forsberg and a team that at times looked really, really good, but it felt like they needed one more piece, and they just did not bring it. They needed at least one more player to get this team on the attacking end to compete in the East, because it's tough in the East, and I get that. But the New York Red Bulls, I felt like they have a really good core group, but they just got one piece away, and it was never enough. But against Cincinnati is another team that, for all the talent they have, I feel like they should be playing a lot better. They depend so much on Evander. It's crazy. I mean, you look at the underlying numbers, look at a team that, even with bringing in a new attacker at times, just look out of sorts, or Reggiano at times, I feel like he's plateaued. There was a point where he was really just on this mark of just being this incredibly influential attacker from the defensive part of the field, and the way he pushed. And now he's kind of plateaued. So Cincinnati, I think, is one that I would go for a draw in this one, because I feel like those are two teams that are still trying to figure things out. Obviously, Red Bulls are out, but they're going to want to be prideful and just show up. I like that draw.
Purple team hosting Crew at a minus 102. Draws a plus 283. Crew is a plus 234 on the road. They are separated by 2 points in the table. Columbus is at the 9 at 50. Orlando is at the 7 at 52.
I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that one at all. It's just not good enough. I think Orlando's going to win, to be quite frank, but I'm not touching it. That could go so many ways for you. I wouldn't even bet on the goals, because you don't know what you're getting at times with this Columbus Crew team. And it's crazy to think and say that we don't know what we're getting out of this Columbus Crew team that, against Chicago, they looked out of sorts. When was the last time you could think of a Wilfred Nancy team that looked out of sorts? I can't remember it. And Orlando, as much as they're a team that with Ojeda and, a team that, to me, is as offensive as a Oscar Pareja team can look.
Yeah.
At times, when they don't have possession and they don't find their game early, they can struggle a little bit. So that's why I'm not touching that one. I feel like this one, it feels like Orlando's going to win it, and they should win it. They almost have the responsibility to win it, but I'm not touching it. This is not good enough for me.
All right, RSL in Colorado. RSL favored at a minus 141. Draws a plus 303. Colorado a plus 333. On the road, Colorado at the 8 at 40 points. RSL at the 11 at 37. Match in hand. What about that one?
Give me Colorado, and I like that. I like those. I like that. That number is good. I mean, it almost feels like a trap, but I like it. That Colorado is a team, to me, that offensively, when things click, they click big, and they could put 3 on you. They could put 4 on you. Like what Harris is doing. I think Aronson has been surprising. And he's been a good fit for this Colorado team, right? You kind of thought that when Mihailovic left, they were going to not really be able to get over that hump. And I think that Arison's done a good job of just keeping it up. Like Navarro, I think that defensively they have some fixing to do. Reggie Cannon has been a guy that has been underwhelming for me. But at the same time, I feel like they have enough talent to go ahead and get this game. So I like it on the road. I like the the points on it. So yeah, give me Colorado.
And then early one on Sunday, Vancouver hosting San Jose. I had included this one because of your Bruce Arena discussion. Vancouver minus 169 coming off the CanChamp. They're at home. San Jose is almost a plus 400 going to BC Place. Vancouver and San Jose, your total, 2.5 a minus 233, 3.5 a minus 102, 4.5 a plus 231. So it flips high 3. Your 4 is a plus 167. You gonna just watch that one and not touch it?
No, man. You know what? I'm gonna take the 4.5. Now it could go all sorts of ways there, but I like that 4.5. Look, I saw this Vancouver team. I've been following it very closely, and they're very interesting. I think Jasper Sorensen's done a great job at really building this team up and coming up for games like this ones, even with the midweek game in San Jose. Obviously, we just talked about them and their ability to score, but also concede. I like this with the 4.5. Yeah, give it to me.
All right, what's going on, Sounder at Heart and Pulso Sports? And I know that there's going to be a trip to the Providence and Swedish 5-minute oil change and secondhand thrift store. What's going on?
Look, there's been a lot going on there in the training facility. Obviously, a lot of guys that we're following because of the injuries. I like the vibe in the Providence and Swedish Bouncy Park. So we have a lot going on there at Pulso Sports. We got Jesus Ferreira talked, Jordan Morris talked, Brian Smetzer talked. Obviously, this is the week of the Derby, so we're going to be getting a lot more of these interviews. You got to watch the Paul Rothrock one. Check it out at Pulso Sports. Paul Rothrock is just great when it comes to sound bites, right? I mean, he just embodies those interviews. He's going to be a guy that's going to be interested against Portland. We're not going to have Monday kickoff with Lobbin Scorchers. Ari's out of town. He won't be available. So I got to do something. So whether it's in Pulso Sports or with Sounder at Heart, we're going to have to make something happen because we cannot let Monday come by and not have something to say about that Derby game. So you expect that at Pulso Sports, Sounder at Heart. And of course, tomorrow, we will be doing what we learned this week with Jeremiah Oshan. Hopefully, we have a little bit more information on Yaimar's injury, Alex availability, and how this team's going to show up against Portland Timbers.
As always, my friend, great to see you on Thursdays and get the intel from the Pacific perspective when it comes to everything Major League Soccer. Be safe, be well, enjoy Washington State this weekend, enjoy the Sounders and the Derby. We'll catch up with you next week.
Have a good one, boss.
All right, that's Niko Moreno, Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. All right, we do have some news out of the league. MLS has announced the full calendar of off-season roster building events, highlighted free agency opening Wednesday, December 10, Super Draft Thursday, December 18. Clubs have the opportunity to scout at the College Showcase in Mesa, Arizona, December 10 through 13. Here's your calendar. November 26, day after, well, that's the day before Thanksgiving. Club deadline to exercise options and submit bona fide offers, excluding the conference final participants. Wednesday, December 10 through the 13 is the College Showcase. Wednesday, December 10, free agency opens. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That'll be an interesting list. Thursday, the 11th at 1 o'clock, the reentry process, stage 1 and stage 2 conducted in reverse order. Eligible players include those who are at least 22, have a minimum of service of 1 year, not eligible for free agency. Out of contract player who has received a bona fide offer from his current club will not be eligible for the reentry. MLS Cup presented by Audi champions get the number 30 pick. Thursday, December 11, end of business, Eastern time, the end of your waivers close. The 17th is when the reentry process stage 2 happens, end of business, Eastern time. Thursday, the 18th is the Super Draft. And once again, that time is to be TBD'd, but that is your off-season calendar for everything going on in Major League Soccer. One quick note from our buddy Ben Jacobs having to do with the Women's Champions League. FIFA Council has appointed a Champions Cup. FIFA Council has appointed London as the host of the final phase of the 26 Women's Champions Cup. 4 matches played between 28 January and the 1st of February next year. Arsenal women featuring in the tournament and begin in the semifinals. The tournament brings together the 6 Continental Club champs from 24 and 25. Rodrigo Betancourt is also now close to agreeing to a new Spurs deal. All parties expect it to be finalized soon. And that's the news out of England when it comes to your WOSO and your Spurs updates. So tomorrow, here's the deal. Bart's going to lead off, and he is going to discuss everything going on with the release of the USM&T senior roster, the U17 roster, the U20 match happening this afternoon, and anything else that comes by early on. 9:30, hopefully we catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring. 10 o'clock, we'll catch up from our friends with Apple TV and Major League Soccer. And after that, at 10:30 or so, anybody that wants to come in and crash can come in and crash. And we'll get you ready for the weekend in the Prem and in Major League Soccer and anything else going on in our brains. Remember, 12:30, so an hour and 20 minutes from now is the pregame show at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground. It is the final 20 minutes plus any other additional time that will be added on by the man in the middle, Atlanta United 2 and Chattanooga FC, to determine what the final look will be after match day 27, or in match day 26 and a half for Atlanta United, or 25 and a half. Wait, so 27, 26 and a half. So 26 and a half match day, 12:30 Eastern time. Maddie, Jason on the call. I'll be there as well. You have your highlights from the match that got us to 69-30 or 70-30, wherever we are on the clock when we walk in the door. We'll know what MLS Next Pro's decision day will look like in the Eastern Conference after about 1:30. Then we'll have a Twos review for you coming up later in the afternoon to lay everything out. We're going to catch up with Jose Silva, Ryan Carmichael. That'll be tomorrow. That'll be in the pregame show that you will hear from Fort Finley. 12:30 pregame, 1:03 kick. Our buddy Gabe Schrei is probably going to drop in. We might do a mutual segment somewhere in there, pregame, and we'll lay it all out for you. Decision day coming Sunday afternoon. Match day 26 and a half completed. Coming up, 12:30 pre, 1 o'clock kick. Soccerdownhere.net. Go to the listen section. You hit the listen section, you'll see a red shining light, and it's going to be pulsating and moving. That means that you got something on the air to click to. You can also go to our Mixler site at soccerdownhere.mixler.com and find out what's going to happen with the Twos as they get ready to take on what's left of Chattanooga FC for this matchup to determine where both of these teams are heading into Sunday at MLS Next Pro. Get your lunch, catch your breath, and make sure that all of your tray tables are locked down, because this 20 minutes is going to be absolute chaos getting ready for the return fixture Sunday at Fort Finley. Twos are trying to take care of business, get at least an equalizer so they can get a point out of the deal and jump over FC Cincinnati 2 and get ready for things in MLS Next Pro. Once again, let me go through the scenarios for you involving just Atlanta United 2. FC Cincinnati 2's win last night helped no one from an Atlanta United 2 perspective. So here's the deal. Right now, the Twos are at 37 points. They win or they get a point. Let's put it that way. They get to PKs, they get the equalizer, go to PKs and lose. They're at 38 points. They're in 9th. The only thing missing is that they don't have the same number of wins as TFC2. They get into PKs and they win in PKs. They are at 39 points. They are in 7th. Core would be in 8th. TFC2 and FC Cincinnati 2 would be out. Atlanta United 2 scores twice or more in 20-plus minutes. They get full points. They get to 40. They are at 7th at 40 points. Core is at 39 once again. TFC 2, FC Cincinnati 2 outside looking in. Chattanooga right now at 48 points. They are in 5th. If they win outright, they get 3 points. They are behind the Revs. They are in 4th. If they get to PKs and win, they end up with 2 points. They are in 4th at 50. If they get into PKs and lose, they are at 47, and they would be in 5th. Huntsville City Football Club would be in 4th. So could be 4th, could be 5th for Chattanooga FC at the end of the day, could be 7, could be 9, or it could be 10 for Atlanta United 2 heading into decision day. That's your marching orders. Go ahead and listen to us. Once again, 12:30 pre, 1 o'clock kick, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground, closed door. Videos available at MLSnextPro.com. We'll find out what that looks like. But chaos 20 minutes. If you missed Maddie and Jason's review heading into it on social medias, it's there for you to look. It's just under 3 minutes, and it's a fun recap, well worth your time. That's it. We're out because we got to get out of here, and I got to go meet Maddie and Jason at the training ground for the chaos that's going to unfold coming up in just a little bit. Thanks to Kaylor Hodges and the USL show. Thanks to our buddy Nino Torres at GOLTV. Thanks to Sounder at Heart and Pulso Sports, Niko Moreno. And thanks to you for hanging out with us on this day of chaos that is just getting started. Get ready, folks. Get your lunch in now. See you in less than 22 hours for SDH AM, where we'll find out about what happens in an hour 45 minutes with the twos in Chattanooga FC and MLS Next Pro. Mucho platial, play it safe. It's the end of the show. That means that I get to do this. See you in a bit.